My name is Rainey Ray, and I am just tickled pink to have my friend Lynne Herro here. Lynne is a skincare expert, licensed and practicing esthetician from near Milwaukee up by Brookfield, Wisconsin. And Lynne and I had the pleasure of meeting, about, 2.5 years ago at a dōTERRA function in Milwaukee. And Lynne was the expert in charge of the skincare table. So she was manning the table, and she and I started to talk, and we have been connected ever since. It's been a blessing. Lynne is a dōTERRA leader, and all that means is she connects with, shares, and educates and helps a lot of people with dōTERRA, and it's very, very fun to know her. So Lynne, welcome, 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 and thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. So this is awesome. Rain is awesome with pets, and we've been able to swap. So she comes and teaches our group on safe use of essential oils for pets, and skin is my specialty. So I have been a licensed esthetician for close to 17 years, and have been using the dōTERRA essential oils for about 3.5 years, and have incorporated them really, really nicely into my skincare practice. And so I have lots to share with you that are not just things that should work really nicely for you, but have had a lot of clients actually use the oils, and I've been able to see a lot of changes and success with their skin through that process. So that's been really cool. So to start, you're going to get a lot here because I want to share some basic information on skin, things that are important in terms of inside and out factors that affect our skin, talking about skin type, the importance of skin protection like sunscreen, proper protection, but then also want to get to a lot of the Q&A because you guys had a lot of questions on various skin issues, and then I can dive into that and specific things that can be helpful for you with those issues. So basically, skin is our largest organ on our body. It's living and breathing. And we know that for those of us who are working with dōTERRA, we know that we can apply something to our skin and that it only takes seconds to be absorbed into our skin. So that's really important to know. What's really cool about that, though, is that because our skin is a living, breathing organ and is always turning over, it takes about 28 days on average for our cells to turn over, for our skin to renew itself. When we get older, it takes a few extra days. But what's neat about that is that if we have sun damage, if we have issues that have occurred to our skin, we can definitely use things to help address and repair and rejuvenate our skin, which is neat. Not necessarily 100% back to when we're little babies, but we definitely can and work to reduce some of the damage that's occurred. And then we're going to also talk a little bit about prevention, like how do we prevent our skin from further wear and tear as we get older. So the basic factors that affect our skin internally are food and proper nutrition. And one of the things I want to mention is it's not like if you have a piece of chocolate, you're all of a sudden going to have a breakout. It's more of like, how are you doing overall with your nutritional support? So we want to get proper vitamins and minerals in our system. Sometimes people who have really bad skin issues are having they lack certain minerals, for example, and they need to be supplementing with them. Or if you are a person that's eating a lot of excessive sugar and just a really unhealthy diet, and you've been on antibiotics, for example, you can mess with your gut health. So proper nutrition is really key for all of our organ systems to be working well, but in particular for our skin, that's one of our, we call it our natural barometers, like our respiratory and our skin system is what talks. So I've had lots of experience personally with eczema since I was a baby, and also acne during my teen/young adult years. So I know, for example, there's definitely a food connection for me, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about eczema and acne. So we definitely want to look at supplementation. When I lead and talk about my classes, I do advanced classes every week up here for our team. I always talk about dōTERRA's Lifelong Vitality Pack. And it's funny because I was not a person who was really into taking anything, any medications or supplementation except for vitamin D several years ago. And then my father had some major health issues, and I was trying to do some research on what could be supportive for him. And one of the products in that Lifelong Vitality Pack, the Alpha CRS, had a lot of things that were very good for healthy cells, healthy cellular function. So I started to take it, and for the first time ever since I had my blood work done, my vitamin D levels went into the normal range. Pain that I had experienced with my endometriosis went away, and my skin started looking amazing. Like, I had people that would say to me, like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I will tell you, for those, and if there anybody out there that's like a massage therapist or anybody into one of the helping fields, we're kind of the last people to get things done for ourselves. So I don't go and get facials. And people will be like, do you give yourself facials? I'm like, not so much. Like, yeah, I wash my face, I clean it, but it's not like I'm laying there and I'm, doing these, elaborate treatments on myself. But the fact that I got all of a sudden these essential fatty acids that our bodies need, the proper vitamins and minerals that our bodies need, the antioxidants that are in that Lifelong Vitality Pack, my skin was looking better than ever. And one of the things I've noticed is that some of you might have something called hormonal pigmentation, which is melasma, and it's usually induced from either hormones from pregnancy or hormones for being on, the pill or some kind of contraception with hormones. And it can leave patches. So it can leave like a whole dark spot kind of across the forehead, or twin patches on the cheeks or around the mouth. That's something that's very, very deep in the dermal layer, and it's very hard to get rid of. And and things that you try that you might want to use for other types of pigmentation can actually make that worse. And what I found is that when I started using my Lifelong Vitality, my hyperpigmentation from my melasma almost completely went away. So again, think internal. The skin is healthy, it's living, it's a breathing organ. And if you feed it from within, that's going to be one of the most powerful ways to look at dealing with your skin. So we've had some questions about like crepey skin, sagging skin, things like that. Well, proper nutrition is going to give you that boost from within. So consider that, just like water intake and hydration. Okay, sleep, proper sleep. You guys probably have had classes on oils to use for sleep. We need to get about 8 hours of sleep minimum. If I can't get 8 hours of sleep, like I'm tossing and turning a little, I at least try to lay in bed a little bit longer so I'm at least resting. I get that downtime. We're supposed to really minimize screen time right before bed. My favorite essential oil blend, and this was per Rain, so I got to tell you, you call it liquid Xanax for the dogs, but I don't know if you remember this. She had given us the blend of Serenity and Balance, and that was the liquid Xanax blend for the dogs. And I went home that night and I used it on myself. And I think I texted Rain the next day and I'm like, that was awesome. So I have given that particular blend to so many people that have difficulty sleeping and staying asleep. That's been really, really supportive. So there's also the Serenity capsule. So sleep is really, really important. Stress, and you guys have focused a lot today. Rain went live and talked about the adaptive line. You guys, I've been using it for a little over a week now, and I'm a person who deals with a lot of anxiety, mostly just induced from the fact that I just have a lot going on and I have a hard time turning off the extra noise. It's not so much a focus issue, it's just I usually end up with a lot of overwhelm, and I sometimes don't know where to start because I have so much to do, and I'm aware of all the things I have to do. And when I started taking the adaptive line, which were the capsules, one a day, and then the oil, I noticed that my levels of anxiety went down tremendously, to the point where I would just feel really present and calm, and I could just like get what I needed done, and not again like a laser focus. It's just that I was just able to just be in the moment and do what I needed to do in the moment. So we have these wonderful tools with these essential oils and these new products to help us in that level of stress, because when your hormones are, when you're stressed out, your hormone levels get all whacked out, your cortisol levels, and these are things that can contribute to premature aging. They can contribute to your acne. Okay, so these are things to keep in mind. So they're very, very important to be aware of things. A lot of people are very focused on what we put on our skin topically, and they're not focused on what we're doing internally, on our stress levels, how much sleep, and don't realize how much control we actually have on the appearance of our skin by looking at these other areas. Hormones. So stress is one thing with the cortisol levels that can definitely affect our hormones. So we want to watch the sleep, we want to watch the stress, watch what we're eating. dōTERRA has a couple products separate from the Lifelong Vitality, which does help to balance our hormones in general. They have a couple different products. And Rain, if you've got the Clary Calm, I can grab that if I have it here. Hang on. The Clary Calm happens to be, I do have it here. Is
because I didn't bring that over.
A roller ball. And this is one that for people that are dealing with like acne, you can start to apply this mid-cycle and then apply it for the last 2 weeks of your period. Or before your period comes. If you're a person that has a hard time figuring that out, the timeline, just apply it every day in the morning on your abdomen or inner and outer of your right ankle. Those are your reflexology points that affect the uterus and the ovaries, okay? So you can apply that there too. This gives people a lot of support hormonally, even people that are dealing with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which can create issues with excessive hair growth and acne as well, okay? Another product that dōTERRA has that I did not even really realize what it was, the powerhouse, is the phytoestrogen complex. And this is a complex that basically what it's doing is it's binding to the bad xenoestrogens that's out there. It's in products, it's in topical products, it's in things we ingest. And because it has a phytoestrogen soy complex, I thought, oh, I need to stay away from that because I have my issues with my endometriosis. But it actually is, it's the type of soy that's in here, the genistein, that's actually a healthy soy for us. So it's not a byproduct. A lot of people don't realize that it's the type of soy we're eating. It's not just soy is bad. So that's really important. So for people that have been suffering from acne or hormonal imbalances, try to take 1 or 2 of these capsules and see how you feel, because this can also give your body some regulation in terms of if you're dealing with hot flashes, hormonal acne, because you can get acne, you know, later in your years. I mean, it's hard to believe, but I have clients that are in their 50s, they're still dealing with acne, okay? So hormones, and then genetics, you know, there are things that we can't control. I mean, some people are more prone to acne and hyperpigmentation and things like that, that is just genetics. So just to keep that in mind, that some stuff we can't control. There was somebody that posted a picture. It was that, I don't remember who it was, that had the little Post-it note with the little dot that was on there.
That was Gwen.
Gwen, okay. And that, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that it looked like something called a keratosis, which is basically just a little benign age spot that's not, it's not something that comes from sun damage. It's not a sunspot. It's just an age spot. And it tends to be hereditary, and usually people that get these have them heavily on the trunk of their body, and that you can have tons and tons. I mean, I've had, I don't even know how many burnt off with liquid nitrogen from my doctor, and now I just stopped burning them off. My dad has tons of them, so I kind of inherited that from him. So there's not really anything to do that I know of. I mean, it would burn them off. One thing that you could try to do if it's really bothering you is that you could definitely try using your frankincense, because frankincense works to really repair skin issues. And we'll talk more about wrinkling and scarring and stuff, but people have used it. I've known people have used it like on a mole, for example, you know, just 1 drop topically for a few weeks with a little bit of lavender sometimes, and it dries up and falls off. You could definitely, if the keratosis was bothering you. I have so many in my body that I'd be going through a bottle of like Frank, like every few weeks. So I just kind of leave them. They're just like my little love spots. But if you have one in an area that's irritating, like under your bra, or, you know, I do have a couple on my cheek here, and I haven't tried frankincense yet. I've had others burned off. But I remember when I first got this one down here, I went to the doctor and I'm like, I protect with my sunscreen. What's going on? And he's like, it's keratosis. So it's just this nice brown spot right here. And it's not hyperpigmentation, but it's just one that I get from old age. So I can definitely try it. It doesn't bother me, but if it does bother you, that's something that you can consider to do. Okay, so those are a lot of the internal factors that, you know, obviously it seems like we wouldn't have a lot of things that we can do to control, but we can control a lot of what's going on internally. Then we also have external factors, and external factors are going to be like pollution and UV radiation. So pollution, women have it a little bit better because most of us are wearing makeup, so we at least have some protection from what's going on outside. But this is where your antioxidants come into play and are really, really important, because the sunscreen, and we'll talk about types of sunscreen and stuff and protection, can only protect against a certain amount of free radical damage. So this is where your vitamin C comes into play. The alpha CRS that doTERRA has in the Lifelong Vitality Pack has heavy antioxidants. A lot of our essential oils are naturally filled with antioxidants too. And I'm going to share a little bit with you when we talk about some of the new products that doTERRA has, because it has some C and some zinc and different things in there that are going to be really powerful for you. In terms of UV lighting, something that's really, really important is a lot of people think that, you know, well, I shouldn't wear sunscreen because I'm really not out a lot. I'm just running to and from, and I'm just in the car a little bit. Even the little 10 minutes here and there that you get is going to affect your skin. We're taking in a lot of radiation, okay? And in our hands, when we're driving in the car, takes in a lot of radiation. Our necks take it in. And what they say is that the amount of radiation that you're getting, and it's cumulative, that you can get in terms of the benefits or disadvantages of whether or not you're getting vitamin D naturally or not. Vitamin D is a very readily available vitamin that we can take. It's vitamin D3. You want to take it in the form of a liquid gel cap or a tincture. It's something that's super easy to supplement. And the benefits of protecting your skin naturally with a mineral sunscreen in terms of protection from the ultraviolet lights from skin cancer far outweigh, you know, the few minutes you think you're going to need to get your vitamin D. Now, Rain's down in Florida. I'm in Wisconsin. We can lay naked most of the year up here and not get enough vitamin D, okay? Because we just don't have enough coming in. So we need to supplement up here. And down by Rain, you need to protect. Like my mom lives in Arizona, and it's 4 times the amount in terms of the rate of skin cancer there. And that's where you see severe wrinkling, severe sagging of the skin, severe hyperpigmentation, and lots and lots and lots of skin cancer. So it's really important to protect. So, and also people don't realize that we're getting UV radiation from fluorescent lighting. So a lot of us are in offices or we're in an office building. And when I was studying aesthetics many, many years ago, we had a picture of a woman, and they showed us 2 pictures. One was, we didn't realize it was the same woman, but it showed her one side of the face that happened to be facing for 10 years her office window. And then the other side wasn't facing that. And the side that was facing the office window was all wrinkled and crepey, and the other side was not. So think of it also when you're driving, that side that's facing the window, you know, is going to be really, really affected. So in terms of sunscreens, this comes up a lot. You have 2 different types of sunscreen. You have something called a chemical sunscreen and a physical sunscreen. A chemical sunscreen is one where it's using chemicals that are drugs that absorb into the skin, and you have to apply them about a half hour before you go out into the sun. And it takes the UV radiation, the radiation absorbs into your skin, and then you need to reapply. Usually it starts to break down within an hour of being exposed to UV radiation, but you need to reapply every couple hours, okay? There are a lot of issues with chemical sunscreens. If you look them up, you will find them on the back of your bottle. You look up drug facts, okay? The drug facts will say whatever chemicals they are, ethyl methylcinnamate, oxybenzone, all these products and ingredients. A lot of them are hormonal disruptors, they are bioaccumulators, and some of them are known carcinogens, okay? And again, because we're putting them on our skin, they're absorbing into your skin. I don't recommend them. So I like to use a chemical-free or a physical sunscreen, which is a mineral sunscreen. And that basically provides a barrier or a block on the top of your skin, and it repels or reflects the UV light. And from when you apply it, you're protected. You don't wait a half hour, you can just apply it and go. And it pretty much stays on all day. I mean, I think legally they can't say that it's like waterproof or whatever. They have to say water resistant. But when you have a really good mineral sunscreen on, it's protecting you unless you're literally swimming for hours or sweating crazily, okay? So what ingredients you're looking for is when you flip over on your sunscreen, you're gonna look for zinc oxide or a combination of zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, okay? Now, for those of you who are using doTERRA, that diaper cream is 25% zinc oxide, which means it's about an SPF 50, if not higher, in terms of a natural sunscreen. I love it. Now, for my skin, it's gonna be too heavy on my face. However, neck, down, hands, it's awesome. I use it. $8.50. The cheapest way you're gonna go for an all natural mineral sunscreen, okay? Now the reason doTERRA cannot call it a sunscreen is because if they do, they're going to have it go through FDA clinical trials as a drug. Because once you call it a sunscreen, even if those ingredients are the same, that 25% zinc oxide becomes a drug fact. Okay, so there's lots of testing. So we know, those of us who do skincare, we know that even a 20% zinc oxide is about a 50. So that you know at 25%, you're looking at about that. Okay, so have that in your back pocket. There are others. I used to use Amino Baby from the store for my body. There's some other brands for the face, CeraVe. I use one by DermaQuest, is one of my favorite products for the face. And the other thing I like about DermaQuest is that when you're looking at mineral sunscreen, the issue with skin of color is that the darker a skin tone using mineral sunscreen would make them look very ashy. And so the particular one that I use, and if someone has questions later, they can, either PM me or get a hold of me through Rain, and I can help connect you with that if you have darker skin tone, meaning like we're Hispanic/darker. So I love mineral sunscreen, and it's super, super important. So your number one anti-aging product is your sunscreen or your sun protection, okay? Also, another way that you can get protection is through mineral makeup. Just like essential oils, when you only need 1 drop of essential oil to call it an essential oil, 3% to say pure essential oil. Mineral makeup only needs to be 10% mineral makeup to call it mineral makeup. And it can have a lot of other fillers and a lot of other things that clog pores and don't really help our skin out. So there are some really awesome brands. Glow Minerals is one I use, but there's Youngblood and Jane Iredale and Bare Minerals. So there's a lot of companies out there that provide these minerals products, powders and bases that give you about an SPF 20 in there as well. Okay. Okay. Another thing that's really important when you're looking at skincare is knowing what your skin type is. Okay. Because a lot of people are running around, they're going to the store and they're looking in the store and they're trying to figure out what to pick up for themselves. So they're like, okay, I think I've got acne, right? And so they're looking and they're buying things. Mineralogy, I haven't heard of that line, but if you check out Mineralogy, just find out if they're 100%. You can look in their ingredients and find out if they're talc-free and see if there's no extra fillers in there. That's the best way to go. And I'm sure there's different websites that EW, I'm trying to think, it's like, I'll have to get the name of it because I always flip numbers. I have a little dyslexia issue, but there's like the watchdog for like all natural makeup and beauty products that will let you know whether or not that's rated highly in terms of an all mineral makeup. So for skin types, it's like we go into a store and we're like,
interrupt you a second, Lynn.
Yeah, sure.
For those who are new to Zoom, you can either unmute yourself and ask a question or post one in the comments in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And for those people that are on Facebook, I'm monitoring Facebook. And if you have comments or questions, post them in those comments and I'll relay them to Lynn. Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. That's okay. It's great. So I find that this is one of the things that people get into trouble with is that they, for example, they think they have dry skin, right? They have oily skin, but they think they have dry skin because at times it's flaky and everything, and it's dehydrated. So what's happening is they're lacking water, but they're going and getting something with oil, and so they're making their condition worse. Or there are people that have something called acne rosacea, which is a subtype of rosacea, which creates blemishes, and they go to the store and they buy acne medication, which makes it worse because they really don't have acne. They have a subtype of rosacea. And with rosacea, with that particular type of rosacea, what they need is actually hyaluronic acid. They need hydration. They need things that are really gentle, calming, and soothing to the skin that actually makes the acne go away. That type of acne, the blemishes. So it's important to know what your skin type is so that when you're trying to pick a product, you're going to pick properly. Okay. And people like me can help you out with that. I mean, you have estheticians in your area, but I'm just at least giving you the awareness that sometimes if you're trying to address something and you're not having luck, it could be because you're not realizing what's really going on with your skin. Okay. Congestions. Okay, so dry versus dehydrated. Now I wanted to kind of walk through some of the different conditions and issues that were brought up, some of the Q&A kind of stuff, and these are topics. So I'm going to talk about some main things like acne, anti-aging, rosacea, hyperpigmentation. This is going to cover most of the questions, but if you have more specific ones, like I know we're going to talk about under eye. We're going to talk about eczema, some different things like that too as well. So with acne, again, one thing that's really key is to try to make sure that you don't, to rule out this acne rosacea. And the biggest factor in terms of trying to determine that is, obviously, if you go to a dermatologist, you're hoping they would tell you yes or no. Some people don't end up getting that far. They're just going to the regular doctor that doesn't know. But one of the things that I look for is that if someone has a lot of redness in their skin and they're getting these pustules, okay, but they don't really have blackheads. That's one of the signs. You don't notice congestion in terms of the form of blackheads all over. You just see redness and these kind of pustules or pimples, okay? That's usually a sign of acne rosacea as opposed to acne. So then you want to focus on hydration. You want to focus on being really gentle and soothing to the skin. And I'll talk about that particular protocol in a little bit when we talk about ways with using some different blends and products that doTERRA has. And then your other forms of acne, when you're looking at, you know, you have, some people just have the blackheads. Some people have these little bumps, little white bumps. Something to keep in mind is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of milia. So sometimes they look like little white pimples or little white heads, but they're actually just little pieces of trapped sebum and wax under the skin. So even if you're somebody that has very dry skin or aged skin who never has any acne or anything, you can get that from two different things. One is sometimes it's a result of excess cholesterol in the body, and I don't see that as often, but it can be. And you usually have them where they're a little bit larger and they're over parts of the face and neck. But you can also get it from using a product that's too heavy for you. So let's say if you were using a moisturizer and you had never had these little bumps before and you're getting them, sometimes it's not acne. It's just that your skin doesn't know what to do with this. So it's not, it doesn't even land in a pore. It just literally traps under the skin, and you actually have to have those removed. They don't just come out by themselves. Okay. And they'll be there forever. So that's like another sign, because normally a pimple is going to at some point dry up and go away. But if you have these little bumps that are sitting there, and sometimes if we wear cheap makeup that's not really good for us, especially in our eyes, you'll see people have these little white bumps around their eyes, like on the eyelids, top of the eyes, under the eyes too. So it just means, again, either you're using something that's really too heavy, congesting for that thin area, and it doesn't know what to do with it, so it traps it under the skin. Okay. So in terms of an acne protocol for teens and adults, a couple things. I always say first look at obviously what you're doing in terms of what you're using to wash and what you're using to apply topically. That's really important. What type of makeup are you using? Are you washing enough? We start with that. And then I kind of progress if I'm not seeing certain results, okay? So in terms of cleanser, I love people to wash twice a day with acne. If you're a teen or somebody that's working out heavily during the day, you may want to wash a third time. So you may want to keep your cleanser with you. I like the HD Clear cleanser. I think it's great. It's takes away enough of the oil without being too stripping. It's gentle but effective, okay? In terms of products that I use topically, so doTERRA does have the HD Clear line with that pump. It has a moisturizer, and they also have an HD Clear roller, okay? I don't personally use it. I make a different mixture for my clients because I'm addressing 5 different issues as opposed to just acne. I'm addressing hyperpigmentation, inflammation, redness, and acne all together with my blend. But if you were going to use this, what I would recommend doing is this is 100% straight essential oil. Okay, it's got cumin, it's got a whole bunch of different goodies, and I have my glasses not with me right now. But what I would recommend doing is diluting this down further, okay, because it's just 100% straight essential oil. And for those of you newer to doTERRA, if you see a product that does not say touch, a roller ball that does not say touch, it's fully leaded. So the Clary Calm is fully leaded. The Immortelle, which we're going to talk about, the anti-aging one, is fully leaded. The new Adaptive that Rain talked about today is a touch, so it's diluted in fractionated coconut oil. Anytime I work with the face or a skin condition like eczema, the carrier that I recommend using is something called jojoba, jojoba or jojoba. It is an ester, not an oil. It's the closest to our natural sebum. It's highly anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. It is so gentle and soothing. Okay, this is wonderful, and it's great for all skin types. It's great for acne skin. It's great for anti-aging. It's great for skin with eczema. It's great for babies. Even if a baby had like cradle cap and you didn't want to use an oil, you could use this instead. It's just so soothing and so gentle. Okay, so I would take this HD Clear and take an empty 10 ml roller, and I would add about 18-20 drops of this to make about a 10% dilution. And then I would fill it with the jojoba. You might be thinking, wow, you're making 10 rollers out of this, but I'm going to tell you, we know, and what I've come to know is that the skin, less is more. You're applying this twice a day. And when I applied it straight to my daughter's skin, she was just all red, like really irritated. And I even did the Immortelle for an entire month straight, and my skin did not like it. It just sat there. But as soon as you dilute it, it holds it in. The skin loves it, it absorbs it, it works in conjunction with that carrier, and I think you'll get much better results. Okay, so that's what I would do if you're going to use the HD Clear. I have my own recipe, and Rain can post this later for you guys, but this is my acne blend recipe. In a 10 ml roller, you're going to use 5 drops each of frankincense, and that's going to help with scarring and hyperpigmentation or post-inflammatory pigmentation. Lavender, which is going to help with inflammation and redness. Juniper berry, which is going to help with the antibacterial and wound healing. Melaleuca, which is tea tree. That's again going to help with your antibacterial component. And then I just started adding, after turmeric came out last year, I started adding that because that is huge for cystic acne. It's naturally anti-inflammatory, powerhouse. I even spot treat. If someone gets a cyst, I've spot treated even myself with a couple days with straight 1 drop of turmeric, and it reabsorbs. So then I fill the rest with my jojoba, and then I apply it twice a day after we've cleansed. Okay, this has been super effective. And again, the reason being is that we're targeting sort of all the parts of the acne. Acne is inflammation. It does have the bacterial issue. It does have the aftermath issue. So we're trying to address all the issues that go along with that acne. Okay, now, if somebody's not seeing significant results with changing the cleanser, changing their makeup, changing the topical, I only give it about 5 weeks now. Sometimes I do peels to like clean up some of the dead stuff and to clean out the pores because we need to clean the blackheads out. I then move into a gut health protocol, okay? A gut cleanse protocol. I'm going to hand this out. You guys are going to probably be sad for a little bit, but it's one of my favorite products. It's been out of stock for about a year, but I'm hoping it comes back in stock very shortly. So it was a protocol that I had asked my particular upline that's a nutritional chiropractor when I had a 15-year-old client who was seeing me for months and months, and we were trying everything. And even though she had not been on it, had not a history of taking a lot of antibiotics or anything, I just would always hear her and her mother talk about a lot of sugary, like they were baking all the time. And the girl had a little, pale color, thin, kind of gangly. And in my gut, in my head, I kept thinking, I just think this is a gut issue. I think it's a gut issue. But I was newer to dōTERRA at the time, right, my 3 years. And I was just like, I don't want him to think that I'm just trying to push, the cleanse or the dōTERRA products at the time. But after so many months, I thought, it doesn't really cost that much to try this. And I really think this could be what's going on. So the protocol, after I reached out to my upline and said, hey, what would you recommend for a 15-year-old? This is what we came up with. So dōTERRA has a blend called Zendocrine Complex. It's been out of stock because of some issues with the vendor, but they're definitely working hard to bring this back. It detoxes 6 organ systems, and it detoxes the skin and the gut, and it's so powerful, you guys, okay? So it's 10 days of this. It's 1 in the morning and 1 at night, okay, for 10 days. Then for a teenager, you're going to take 10 days of On Guard Plus. Okay, I don't have that in front of me, but it's a supplement that dōTERRA has that has oregano in it, black pepper. You're going to take 1 in the morning and 1 at night of that for 10 days. An adult is going to use the GX Assist. This is way more kicked up. So I would say 18 and up on the GX Assist for 10 days. 1 in the morning, 1 at night, okay? Then I have people go back to a 10-day regimen of the Zendocrine Complex, 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And then you start your daily use of your probiotic to replenish. So basically what's happening is you're detoxifying with the endocrine complex. The GX Assist or the On Guard Plus with the oregano is going to be taking care of any of the bad, nasty candida stuff going on in the gut. Then we're going to do a little bit more pulling with our endocrine, and then we're going to replenish the gut healthily with PB Assist. Now, what people don't realize, and I learned this a couple years ago, taking a course with some medical doctors and nurses at a hospital on mind-body connection and a lot of focus on gut health, was that probiotics, if somebody has an imbalance of candida in the gut, taking a probiotic can actually feed the candida. So you will find that there are people that, like this gal was taking a probiotic, but we needed to take care of the bad stuff going on first, then replenish. And twice when I've worked with medical doctors for candida myself, they've given me diflucan, which is really toxic to the liver. And then they've given me nystatin to take care of the candida. And I did an anti-candida diet. And then I started the probiotic. Okay, so it just made sense. I just went back. It was, sure, that's what they've been doing. So you'll hear people say, oh, I'm trying to help my acne and I try to help this and taking a probiotic. And I said, hey, if you've been on a history of antibiotics, and this, by the way, can stem back to like being on antibiotics from they had ear infections as a kid. You know, it doesn't have to be where they just had it within the last year or two. It's just that eventually that combined with maybe not eating properly or whatever, just put them out of balance. So usually within that 5 weeks, that month after I started that 5 weeks, you know, waiting, I see a huge turnaround. And only a couple times did I have them repeat that. So that was huge. That was my light bulb. So I don't wait until somebody is like 8 months into my program with me. If I don't see a turnaround, and acne, by the way, you guys, is about 3 weeks in the making. So if you start something new, it takes about 3 weeks for whatever started to come up and out. So just remember that. Okay. So even if you go to see an esthetician and you're like, oh, I just broke out the next day. Okay. Sometimes it could be just because they're stimulating stuff, but it's under the skin, but it's been in the works for a few weeks. So did you have a question?
Yeah, I know you want to stay on task. There's a few other questions that have come in from Facebook, and I'll get to those.
Yes.
But one thing that's come up is people are using the Copaiba soft gels, one each day, to help with the protocol for cystic acne. What are your thoughts on that?
So again, yes, and I mentioned that. So turmeric, dōTERRA just came out with these wonderful new turmeric capsules that are supposed to be, that I just find out, 11 times more bioavailable than the powder itself. I recommend taking internal, either the Copaiba or the turmeric, both, for eczema, psoriasis, because again, you're fighting the inflammation internally as well. So definitely, most definitely, you want to look at taking that. And if the Copaiba is not doing it by itself, try this, okay? Or if we think it's hormonal, try your phytoestrogen. Now, remember, oils and products, you know, everybody's different. So play around. If you don't see something happening though within a few weeks, I would definitely try something else, mix it up. Because I'm not a believer that you need to try something for 6 months to see a change. If it's not happening in a few weeks, mix it up, try something else, add it. But again, acne is inflammatory, it is inflammation, okay? Was there anything else on acne?
Yeah,
yeah.
Not on acne, but switching gears slightly, talking about psoriasis. And there's a question that came in that is, with psoriasis, I get flares, but between when I'm not flaking, my skin is still itchy and aggravated. What's the best topical to cool and help the itchiness?
Yeah, so believe it or not, peppermint is always your go-to for that. If it's not going to be super irritating, just a light version of that. But I love using the combination of myrrh, Roman chamomile, and lavender for my eczema. And oftentimes my eczema itches. But if you're not trying, try the internal turmeric and the internal Copaiba too.
And you said myrrh, Roman chamomile, and
lavender. But and lavender is naturally antihistamine too. So think of that, that for me, my eczema, when it triggers and it gets really itchy, I can feel an itch in my body. I can feel a histamine reaction. Now for me, I know that psoriasis can have there's definitely a genetic component, just like with eczema too. I feel that for me, my eczema has stress connection, but also food related. I happen to react very strongly to tomatoes. and also very strongly to mold, particularly the kind that's found in aged cheese. That was determined through medical testing, allergy testing. So I follow, sometimes I follow, and Raina and I were talking about this, detox or autoimmune protocols for a diet for about 4 or 5 weeks. They're kind of strict, but once I follow that, my gut kind of does a reboot. I don't even tend to react to my normal inflammatory triggers. Okay. So I am not a big believer in give up all of gluten, give up all of dairy. People start giving up all these food groups, and you can be reacting to something that even is like gluten-free. Like I'm reacting to tapioca. I mean, you can react, and that's in like a lot of gluten-free things. So by doing a really restrictive autoimmune protocol, initially, you're really off of a lot of things that could be potential triggers. And it allows your body to have this sense of just the inflammatory response calming down enough for the body to repair itself, to give you that protection going forward. So just keep that in mind. People oftentimes either go extreme with giving up whole food groups, but sometimes these little protocols, because they are psoriasis, eczema, acne, a lot of these things are autoimmune conditions. The body's just kind of fighting itself. So, and topically, what happens also when you get the buildup, sometimes you get this buildup with the psoriasis. Wintergreen is a natural keratolytic. It's very similar properties to aspirin and salicylic acid, which is used topically for acne. When my daughter has her dandruff from her really oily scalp, her scalp gets very itchy and oily, I will make a nighttime protocol or blend with lavender and a little bit of wintergreen in it with some jojoba, and just massage it into her scalp. And you could also try that for some of that crusty built up plaquing that occurs with the psoriasis as well.
Awesome. Another question that came in, looping back to when you were talking about the hormone discussion. One gal asked, I have issues with facial hair that just came about in the last few months. It's a subject that many are reluctant to address, but hey, I'm willing to. Any suggestions in terms of the hormones and balancing of that, and if that can help with that unwanted?
Yeah, I mean, it tends to be a side effect. It can come from a lot of different things. I mean, I've had clients that were pregnant that never had facial hair and all of a sudden had almost this full thing going on down here. So hormones definitely impact it. My clients who have the polycystic ovarian syndrome, often diagnosed in their puberty years. Some have various degrees of hair and some have a lot of hair. The clients have had a lot of success with the Clary Calm and then that phytoestrogen complex. Again, these are going to be things along with your Vitality Pack, if you're not taking it, it's going to help to balance or regulate your hormones. And that's really, really key, because it's usually a hormonal issue. So if you can help support yourself, get a baseline, that's going to be huge. So I definitely would try the Lifelong Vitality Pack, Clary Calm, and the phytoestrogen.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. Those are my interruptions for the moment.
Okay, that's okay. In terms of pigmentation and scarring, so the frankincense is going to be your best friend for that. That's why I include it in the blend that I have. I had a client that had such severe acne scarring. I didn't even begin to broach the subject of peels because I thought he needed laser work. And I was giving him that protocol that I gave you guys, with the exception it didn't have turmeric at the time. And he was using twice a day this blend I gave him. And after a few weeks, he came in, and I remember looking down going, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought he was. And then he said, hey, can I have some more of that sample? And I said, sure. And my clients are, I call my guinea pigs, but they're the ones who use what I make up so that I can see really what's going on, because I don't have all these conditions, right? So after a month and a half, he came back in, and I was like, so-and-so? I said, your skin is looking amazing. I mean, the healing was incredible. And he said, I know, people are complimenting my skin, and friends have noticed. So frankincense is huge for scarring. It's huge for pigmentation. Now, a little goes a long way. So 5 drops in the roller are great with this jojoba, okay? If you happen to have a sunspot, a sun damaged spot, okay, that you want to take care of, you can apply 1 drop neat, which means straight, undiluted. And because you're only applying it for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And I've seen really, really large ones just disappear after 2.5 weeks, okay? Same thing with moles, you can apply a drop straight. But in general, if you're gonna be applying it twice a day long-term, for scar healing and stuff, 5 drops in that 10 ml roller. You can add extra oils in there depending on what's going on. This Immortelle that dōTERRA has, this is really cool because it has all your anti-aging oils in here. It's got your myrrh, it's got your helichrysum, it's got your lavender, your sandalwood, your geranium, your frankincense, okay? The issue that I have with this is that it's full strength, and the skin, if you keep applying these beautiful straight oils day after day, twice a day to your face, you could have the chance of becoming sensitized to it, okay? Plus, they're aromatic, volatile compounds that need to be trapped into something to be trapped in the skin. So I started to dilute this down to a 10% dilution. So I would take 18 drops of this, and you can take out the roller ball, you guys. Take it out with like a cloth, okay? And then you can either use one of those pipettes. Otherwise, it's not that hard to drop in 18 drops. If you get 20, it doesn't matter. And then I fill the rest of the roller ball with that jojoba and apply it twice a day, and your skin is gonna love it. You can put it anywhere, around your eyes, neck, wherever. That's a nice way, a really easy way too. So you're basically making 10 roller balls out of this thing.
I learned that trick from Lynn 2.5 years ago when you presented at our class. And I can tell you that that bottle of Immortelle, which is expensive, can make 10 roller balls, and they're better for you. And I've been loving that, loving it.
Yeah, so basically, if you even add the jojoba price in there, it's like $10 for a month, because it took me about a month if I was doing it twice a day application. So the cheapest anti-aging. So that would be really easy if you guys didn't want to go and buy all the individual oils. They're in there, okay? And so then we had someone was asking about stretch marks. You guys, the stretch marks, a lot of the stretch marks are the same things in that Immortelle. They're the helichrysum, the frankincense, the geranium, the myrrh, and jasmine. Again, everything that's in the Immortelle. So you're going to want to apply that to your stretch marks as well. Okay. Let me go here. I'm just looking at the rest of my notes here. So we were talking about crepiness. Someone asked about crepiness and rejuvenating skin. That whole jojoba has naturally occurring vitamin E, B complex, zinc in there. And so does pomegranate seed oil. So really great oils for skin rejuvenation are going to be your frankincense, your lavender, jojoba, which is your ester, pomegranate seed oil, which is in the yarrow palm, and rosehip seed oil. So you guys could get, if you wanted to have that be a carrier, you can too, okay? The other cool thing about this jojoba, like the fractionated coconut oil, is it never goes rancid. So it's gonna last you a long, long time, okay? The yarrow palm, I wanna give a shout out for these 2 products here for anti-aging. This one is awesome. It's got your argan oil, your avocado oil, your sunflower oil. It's got frankincense. It's got this new kananga, which is similar to ylang-ylang. It's got Roman chamomile. I've been using, it's got coffee. So coffee is also good for cellulite. Okay. So this is kind of like this wonder product that can be used for cellulite, your scarring or your stretch marks. I've been using it on my eczema. You could try it on your psoriasis as well. People that have rosacea, but not the acne rosacea, that really need a lot of calming and soothing their skin, argan oil is actually indicated for that, and that's in here. You could try that on your face. Even though they're recommending not for your face, they want to kind of do this general blanket to make sure that those of us who are more acne oily prone, that it's not too heavy for us. But you could do a little testing. I also think you could do a little use of this as an under eye serum. Really rich. Apply a little there. Okay. Awesome. Lips, dry lips. But I've been applying it. This is where my eczema comes, and I've been applying it to my eczema, and it's been super soothing. And I will usually, I don't know about the other person who has the psoriasis, but when I usually have a super flare of my eczema, and Rain and I were talking about this, the oils are too much for me. Like it just like they scream. And I don't know, Rain, if you tried this on your eczema, but this has been really soothing for me.
I have.
So I think because of all the extra carrier oils in there.
It calms it right down. It takes away the itching and the burning. I would hope that it would work the same for psoriasis. And, you know, it's killing us that that product won't be available for individual purchase until January. It's only available.
So So to remind people though, November 1st, they're going to have, usually they have the release of the holiday products, okay? They will have a kit with about, I think it's a 50 ml bottle of this,
Yes.
the little complex, and a 15 ml of Yarrow for $79.50. So that will be a great deal. So you can get it a couple months earlier if you buy it, but you should buy it right away, beginning of November, when the holiday items come out, okay? The other thing I want to promote is the Yarrow capsules. Why? Okay, so again, dōTERRA knocks it out of the park. So the Yarrow Palm, a lot of us have been taking that as our skinny jeans recipe. Yarrow Palm, pomegranate, naturally anti-inflammatory, okay? But the fact that they're calling it this beauty complex, you could be like, beauty complex? This could actually be even your calming, relaxing complex, because it's got copaiba in it, okay? It's got frankincense in it. It's got the Yarrow Palm in it. It also has vitamin C in it, so think of a heavy antioxidant. It's got zinc in it, which is naturally antibacterial and antimicrobial. It has, and that's also a great boost for the body. So it's got so anti-inflammatory internally. So this has a lot of heavy hitters. I just started taking 1 a day. The dose is 2 a day. And the only reason I didn't start with 2 a day is because I started with the adaptive, and I kind of wanted to feel how my body was reacting to that. But the beautiful thing is that you're going to get so many positive benefits separate from the skin, but healthy cells, anti-tumor, healthy cellular function, which is your skin, but I mean, even for mood. So you're going to get a lot of positive effects from this. So this will be available in that little travel kit November 1st. Otherwise, like Jane said, it'll be available singly January 1st. Okay.
I'm really excited about. I'm going to do a before and then an after of when I take 2 of them every day for 30 days.
Yep.
And I'll just be a guinea pig for everybody.
And remember to watch your hydration. I saw there was on Yahoo one time, this anti-aging, this gal did a study for 1 month on herself, and she took before and after photos of drinking the proper amount of water. We're supposed to be getting about half of our body weight in ounces in water. I'm not really good at that, but you need to try it. If you need to add a drop of lemon oil or something to your water to make it taste better, do it, or some herbal iced tea. But she looked 10 years younger by just getting the proper amount of hydration through water after that month. So to keep that in mind, because we had a lot of questions about anti-aging. Under eyes. Okay, so under eyes, I would definitely try. A lot of people were using just the Yarrow Palm itself under the eyes for under eye puffiness. I would recommend trying this.
And that was a question that just came up. The question is, my 13-year-old daughter has eczema on her eyelids and fingernails. Would that be safe on the eyelids?
You can try that. Yeah, I'm going to tell you that when I get really, really bad eczema and it's around my eyes, nothing. I mean, it's like I have to go with like Cetaphil. It hurts. You can't put anything on it. I've resorted to doing 1% hydrocortisone for my doctor, which, by the way, on the face is no more than 3 days. But I think this would be super, super, super soothing because, like I said, I've used it on my active eczema here. Try it. I mean, she's either going to say yes or no, but it's not going to hurt. You just need the moisture. You need the protection. The key is not to scratch, because with eczema, when it itches, you can run the risk of a secondary bacterial infection, and that's where things get really messed up. So in the fingernails, if she has the cracked fingernails, and I don't know where she lives, but like when it starts to get really, really bad winter here, a lot of people, their fingertips will split, their upper lips will split. That combination of, for eczema too, of the lavender, myrrh, and Roman chamomile is awesome, and do it in that jojoba. So try this for sure, but if not, you can make up that little blend, or even try some of the Yarrow Palm. I mean, I was using that blend prior to the Yarrow Palm coming out. So for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. This individual happens to live in Florida. So the cold weather cracking is
not an issue. Okay. And also then with the eczema, look at possible food triggers, because since I was little, I had a strong reaction to tomato. Since I was little, I craved ketchup. And whenever I would eat tomato sauce or ketchup, I would just scratch and itch myself till I was almost bloody. And I can't do tomatoes. I have been able to, when I've done complete gut reboots in the detox diet, to be able to have it for a little bit, but it seems to create this huge histamine response in me. And when I go out and I actually try to pick tomatoes from a tomato plant, I will turn yellow. I have a very strong reaction to tomato. So just see if you can make some kind of a connection. And I often recommend people keeping a food diary for about a week and just being really clear. And she's young, but ask her if she notices if she starts to feel itchy, like after she eats certain things, because I can feel that. I feel like an itchiness taking over my body. And then I start to scratch my particular area. So.
And the same woman said that it's more like a pitting on the nails. It's more pitting.
Actually on the nail bed.
That's what you said. It's more pitting on the nail.
And is it all the nails?
So Amy, if you can hear that, respond. I know there's a delay with Facebook, so we'll carry it and I'll shoot you the response.
Because it may or may not be eczema. It could also possibly be something mineral, like a lacking of a vitamin mineral. I would definitely see if she could at least start taking one of each of the Lifelong Vitality. The essential fatty acids are going to be really, really huge for people with any kind of skin issue as well.
Awesome.
So let me see if I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Okay, so stretch marks, we got that. Cystic acne, we've got sagging skin. Let me just check and see if the other notes we have. Crepey skin.
The one thing I'm seeing here is what regime to use for lightening of brown spots on the face. I know you touched on the one example that was the picture, but this is just the lightening of brown spots generally.
Yeah, so two different things. One is, depends what your brown spots are. So if you have something that just happens to be a sun damaged spot or like that keratosis, you can definitely just try 1 drop neat of frankincense, okay? The new thing, I have not tried it yet, but supposedly our new oil, black spruce, is supposed to be great for hyperpigmentation. So I would start incorporating that with frankincense in a protocol with the jojoba. It's just brand new and I haven't tried it yet. So,
and I made a roller with just, I don't know if it was 8 drops in a 10 ml roller of the black spruce. And I have been using it for the past few days on brown spots. So once again, I'll be the guinea pig. I don't know.
Otherwise add some frank to it because I love frank for sure works on hyperpigmentation. If you think and you're older that it could be the melasma, the hormonal induced pigmentation, definitely get on the Lifelong Vitality if you haven't been on it, because I've seen huge changes in my skin with using that for sure. Okay.
And wouldn't you recommend that people do things like one at a time? So in other words, maybe start on the Lifelong Vitality, add in some of the blends, or add the blends, then do the life, but not so they're doing everything and throwing the kitchen sink in so that they don't know what's working.
Well, if you have like acne though, internally you're going to want to help support that in the hormones, you know, for example, and then topically you do have to address what you're putting on. Because if you're putting on garbage stuff, you know, products too stripping or too drying. Because I've had people put, if you use like Proactive and things with heavy and benzoyl peroxide, what ends up happening is initially it works and dries out your skin, but then you produce more oil and sebum, it actually makes it worse. Or doctors were giving people like the Retin-A and all these different, and you know, the topicals that created so much more inflammation and really ravaged the skin. So I think in the case of acne, you definitely need to look at kind of an internal, external approach. And even anti-aging, I just think no matter what, everyone should be on the supplements for just organ support, period. But then depending what you have going on, try something, you know. And then again, if you have something that's like your eczema or your psoriasis or even acne sometimes, but I find that acne tends to be more hormonal or gut health as opposed to like a food trigger. But these other skin issues a lot of times are food triggers. So if you can try to figure out what your triggers are and eliminate them or give yourself a break, and then combine the anti-inflammatory oils internally can't hurt. And a lot of us take it just preventatively, period. You know what I mean? A drop a day or so.
Well, and maybe I misspoke, but the Lifelong Vitality, we all agree, is the basic foundation. So
sure.
when you're adding in some other of the protocols, try one maybe and see how that works. With the person with the daughter with the nail bed issue said it's the nail bed will look for food triggers also. So
then possibly something fungal. I mean, is it all the fingers, or is it just like my eczema usually comes on like one hand or a couple fingers? Is it like all of her hand, all of her fingers, or is it just a couple? Because if it tends to be more than one, I'm betting it's more of a vitamin, kind of an internal deficiency thing, you know, because usually eczema tends to be an isolated area, a few things. It's not like every fingernail or something.
Exactly.
Or for his feet, could be the toenail thing. And for toenail fungus or fingernail fungus, I've had a lot of success with doing a 3-to-1 ratio of melaleuca and oregano in fractionated coconut oil. Applying that twice a day works really, really well.
And what strength do you make that in?
So in like a 10 ml, for this, I normally take like, or a 5 ml or a 15 ml, an empty bottle, because you want to dump it on as opposed to rolling it on the fingernail. If I was doing like a little 5 ml bottle, I would probably do like maybe 10 drops of tea tree and like 3 drops of oregano. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, it's still kind of potent, but, and then just put the rest with the coconut oil and just apply that twice a day. I've seen really, really good results with it just drying out, and just, it becomes like a little, almost like a little plaster. It just kind of falls off. So
very cool.
So I don't know if that's kind of what I have. I don't know if I missed anything, but if anybody has any other questions.
Anyone who's on the Zoom have questions that we didn't address already? Victoria, did we hit all of yours? You can unmute yourself or let me know by waving and I'll unmute you.
I'm looking at all my products here.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So let me unmute you. Okay. There you go, Gwyneth.
Okay, I'm the one that had I have that thing on my arm. And what I was trying to say was that I felt like it was going away after using the Lifelong Vitality. And then when I was putting frankincense with my moisturizer, and I would like put some on my arm, and I have another spot on my leg, and I would just rub that on my leg, and it seems like it's going away. And you talked about it starting to flake and get patchy. I thought, well, I'll try some of that Correct-X. So after I've done my moisturizer, I put a little Correct-X on the spot on my arm and on the spot on my leg, and they were getting flaky and starting to maybe patch off. So, and
Awesome.
I've noticed a difference in my forearms because I had some of the aging brown spots and things like that. So everything seems to be looking better. And my mom had cancer, a skin cancer, where she got little white spots, and then and I was starting to get white spots, but since I've been taking the vitamins and the copaiba and the frankincense and water twice a day, those have gone away. So
yeah.
My skin's looking a lot clearer and a lot better than it was just a few months ago.
And that's great because your skin talks, right? And I had this come up on one of the threads that I was following, and I noticed it for myself that for people that deal with a lot of skin tags, that's the body purging, right? And you have these weird little growths happening.
Yeah,
I really don't have these skin tags anymore. Like since I've been using Lifelong Vitality, and someone posted that, and I thought, you know what? Do I have them? You know, like, because I didn't notice that. I realized that I used to have a bunch around my neck, and I don't have any anymore. So
awesome.
yeah, the skin wants to heal, and there's frankincense in the LLV anyway. But frankincense, we had a dog, I think I've shared this with Rain, we have 2 rescue chihuahuas, and one had a little growth that was growing on the top of her head. And even though she's little, I literally, to make sure it got in through her fur, I put 2 to 3 drops every day for maybe 4 days, 5 days max, and it completely went away. So frankincense is awesome. It wants to take the damaged DNA out and heal. So skin stuff. So again, it probably would work on here. You guys had just never got around to doing it. So it probably would. So you guys share your stories. That's what's awesome. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know Kira has a question. Let me just loop back to our one gal from Facebook.
Yes.
It says that it's not all the fingers. It's a lot like psoriatic arthritis.
Oh.
On the nail bed, her doctor said it was eczema, but she does not agree. So that was her.
I would do the gut, and I would focus on the anti-inflammatory internal. If she can do the turmeric or the copaiba, if she can take a capsule, if you can make an empty vegetable capsule, or use one of the turmeric capsules that dōTERRA has if it's not too big.
Yeah, this would be great for a 13-year-old.
And this thing, you guys, for pain, it's huge. This is about the size of a PBS cyst. Okay. But for pain, for people with pain, I've had huge like testimonials from just 2 capsules. So just putting it out there. So yeah, I focus on that in particular. Yeah. I mean, our body is just, we have so much inflammation, and inflammation is the root of so much trouble. And then gut, you could also look at that, you know, if she needs to do a basic cleanse at some point. I don't know if she's been on antibiotics for a significant period of time at one point in her life. You could look at doing a simple little cleanse with just, when that Zendocrine comes back, and if she can't tolerate the capsules, open it, put it in a smoothie or in some applesauce, and then just use the GX or the On Guard Plus. It's milder, and she could do 1 or 2 capsules a day of that. So, I mean, you have things you can try that are gentle, can't hurt.
Kira, I had unmuted you. There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
I saw it. I thought that I bumped it because my finger was hovering over it, so I didn't realize I had done it.
Okay.
That's too funny. So, okay, 2 things. One thing is that I just got over a wicked, like, 6-week bout of eczema all over both of the backs of my hands and between my fingers and down my wrists and my forearms. And of course, I tried all of the oils. I've been using dōTERRA for about 7.5 years. And I used a ton of different things. I tried a cleansing. I tried a lot of things. And what turned out, I went to a girlfriend, one of my builders is a chiropractor and a nutritional therapist, and she muscle tested me for a bunch of different things, and we, you know, lots of big fat regimen of oils and bone nutrient complex and bumping up my omegas and all this. But zinc was a big thing. I was very deficient in zinc because I was consuming too much grain and not soaking, fermenting, or sprouting them.
And they've got zinc in here.
Phytate. Yes, I know. And I thought the zinc was in that, and I was so excited. I'm a little bit nervous to try them. I can't, because we can't get any more until January, right? Well, I mean, maybe this post can
November.
Tour, but yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if but anyway, so the point is that she had me use an aqueous zinc supplement, and I did a like heavy medicinal dose of that for about a week. And got so much better. My hands cleared up.
There you go. Yep.
So that's a big thing because we use so much zinc whenever we're healing bones.
Yes, for sure. Yep.
So I found like that's one thing that I'm kind of steering people towards, just at least get tested. If you squish that aqueous zinc in your mouth and you taste pennies, you're okay on zinc. If you don't taste anything, you need zinc. Get some more.
Yeah. And I've had clients that had really bad acne and that were deficient in minerals. So so the skin's talking. So I'm a huge believer that it's internal. We use the topical to help with the stuff that's here, right? But the internal prevent the new stuff from coming out. Otherwise, you're just chasing it.
Right.
So, yep. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's awesome. My little dude's gonna come in here and interrupt me again, but
Well,
really fast. I had
we did talk a little bit about the black spruce while you were I know you have a question about that.
That was it. I'll go back and rewatch the replay and catch it.
Well, we didn't really talk about much.
I've got a little, see my little dark spot right here?
Yep.
So I noticed mine the last.
I would use frankincense and drop frankincense. If it's actually just one little isolated spot, try frankincense every day for a few weeks, 1 drop straight.
Okay, and not the black spruce.
You can try, but I mean, you can try it, but Frank will probably just take care of it. You can add another one if you want.
I've got them both, like all over the counters. Should see my counters. Just a moment.
And you can let us know if black you can try it yet.
Totally. I took a before picture because I started using, and then Deb said something to me this evening, but I started using the Yarrow Palm on my face. And then I was talking to Deb Williams this evening, and she said that she, you know, heard in the pipeline, somebody somewhere said that the oils in this are really heavy and to be careful on your skin, it might clog your pores.
It depends. It depends who you are. I mean, and actually argan, I was just mentioning earlier that it's really indicated for people with really sensitive skin, rosacea stuff. So, and avocado, it's heavier, but then dōTERRA's hydrating serum has macadamia nut oil. That is like, that's like super, super thick for me. So it depends on your skin type. Again, if you know your skin type, I'm oily, acne prone. So it's going to be a little bit heavy on my face, but I'm going to use this around my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
to like plump up the skin and moist or hydrate it. Yeah, perfect. So I mean, so far I've only been using it for 3 days, and so far I like it. I'm okay with the texture. I'm okay with the density.
You would know.
Yeah, I'll pay attention. I told her, I said, I'll watch, because if I do have larger pores on my cheeks, you know, remember when they had those stupid Biore pore strips
Oh, yeah.
when we were younger? And we thought that ripping our pores out like over and over and over again were a good idea.
Yeah.
So I have, you know, damaged pores here. Just
But
large
that frankincense, if you apply topically in the 5 ml, put 10 ml, 5 drops of franken and apply that topically, these pores will start to really fade.
Is it with
Because
just fractionated
it'll just
coconut
like
oil?
I use the jojoba, the jojoba.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Oh, and by the way, the brand that I like is Hobacare, Hobacare. That's all they make. And you can get it pesticide free or organic. And you will be surprised. So my acne clients that have big pores in the scarring or the larger pores, it starts to look like they've been getting peels and little lasers. So
Yeah,
try
no,
it.
we love that. When Lynn told me about it almost 2.5 years ago, I put a link on my website, so you don't have to search. It's on greendogesentials.com in the supplies. And just so everybody's clear, we believe that, of course, you can get the Yarrow Palm in the post-convention tour kits if you attend. We believe that the convention kits will be available for sale, and they're discounted, and it's a great deal. If you can grab them, it'll be included in there.
Yes.
And also, Lynn was kind enough, and I remember seeing it at convention, that there is one of the holiday collections that are coming out will include a smaller bottle of the serum, a smaller container of the capsules. I think it is smaller.
Yep. And the 15 ml of the Yarrow Palm itself.
Yeah, so that's going to be a very nice thing to tide people over to January when it'll be available. So this has been great. Lynn, you're awesome, awesome, awesome. And I was talking to Lynn earlier today, and we're going to continue our tradition of rotating on doing classes for each other's groups, because we so benefit from the knowledge of someone like Lynn. So everybody, I mean, this is just awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You were incredible. Any other questions that people have, post them and tag me in the live comments on Facebook, and I will communicate with Lynn on that, and we'll get them answered for you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Have a great evening, okay?
Thank everybody for joining. We'll keep doing this. This is awesome.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Take care. Good night, everyone.
Night, night.